And if there's too many colored people around here, I definitely will get out.
One of the main reasons was because it was a white community.
And we understood that it was going to be all white, and we were very happy to buy a home here.
This was Levittown, Pennsylvania, shortly after World War II, in a suburb that explicitly promised a white-only neighborhood. And it wasn't some outlier. It was the prototypical suburb, built by the father of suburbia, Bill Levitt, who created several suburbs around the US, all named Levittown. But one reason Levitt wanted a white-only community was because the US government was subsidizing it, and that's what they wanted. They said they didn't want racially inharmonious groups, lowering property values. That's why Levitt didn't just sell cookie-cutter houses. He sold a meticulously crafted, affordable, utopian lifestyle. So as the courts integrated public spaces like schools, more and more white people fled to these suburbs. And these patterns are still the defining characteristic of America's racial geography. But we now spend most of our time at work, and there, it gets a lot more complicated.
More than 1 million persons each year have pulled up stakes in the cities and turned commuters.
Shortly after the first Levittown broke ground in 1947 in Long Island, New York, about 80% of men still commuted the hour to Manhattan. And while neighborhoods were getting deeply segregated, these workplaces were getting more diverse. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 banned employment discrimination. More companies explicitly said that they were equal opportunity employers. And segregation within our workplaces declined. This meant the workplace was a crucial environment for us to interact with people of other races. Except that's not exactly how it turned out. A few months ago, researchers at Cornell and Penn State shared a dataset with me, and when I mapped it, it kind of blew my mind. This is a map of where people work in modern-day Chicago. The taller an area, the more people there are. But now let's color in each neighborhood by the percentage of white people. You can see the city centers are pretty diverse. But now, here's what happens when they go home. What's even more astounding is what happens when we map people of color. Here's where black people work in Chicago. Again, they're concentrated in diverse city centers. But when black workers go home, they go to very segregated neighborhoods, clustered in poorer areas. And we can see the same patterns in DC, Detroit, Philadelphia, pretty much everywhere in the US. These maps show just how stubborn residential segregation is. But they also show what looks like a glimmer of hope for integration. Cities are remarkably diverse during the workday. So this got researchers interested in looking closer at what's at work. Let's look at how segregation changed in recent years. From 2000 to 2010, residential segregation between black and white people got slightly better. For the most part, segregation just mostly plateaued for all racial groups. But when researchers looked at how segregation changed during the day when we're at work, they found that segregation increased slightly across all racial groups. When we zoom in some more to the company level, we can see a bit more of what's actually happening. Researchers at Stanford and Harvard found within a company, segregation levels have gone down very little. In other words, we're exposed to about as much diversity now as we were a generation ago. But there are a lot more people of color now than there were in 1980. So what's going on? Well, they aren't being more represented at these white majority companies, which would look like this. Rather, they're getting opportunities at companies that are mostly non-white, over here. So this means that when we look at this from a company level, segregation has actually gotten worse than a generation ago. Of course, some places are pretty diverse. So researchers looked at what kinds of places actually have less segregation during the day. But they found that if a place is diverse during the day, it's likely not because people of all races are working alongside each other. Rather, it's probably because most of the higher status workers, like managers, are white, and the lower status workers, like janitors, are people of color. American policies engineered our segregated homes. But work, where we spend most of our time, many thought that could be a space where we form meaningful relationships with people of other racial backgrounds. That hasn't quite happened, and we see it in the most personal parts of our lives. In 2014, the Public Religion Research Institute asked Americans to list the people with whom they've discussed important matters in the past 6 months. In other words, our friends. Most Hispanic people had friends of other races. About 1 in 3 black people did too. But 75% of white people only had white friends. In short, we may be exposed to diverse spaces, but we still live very segregated lives.
But the whole trouble with this integration business is that in the end, it probably will end up with mixing socially. And you will have...
Alright, Shalom. This is the brother Mayim coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone. Much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth, and this truth is sincerity. Alright, so, as you've just seen, the video here in speaking about segregation, how we're still in segregation, alright? And the reason why I want to do this video is to show to show how Esau is still has things segregated. Alright, he still hates you niggas. Alright, he still hates you blacks. Alright, you so-called blacks. Alright, the so-called white man still doesn't like you so-called Latinos, and the so-called white man still does not like you so-called Native Americans. Alright, and that's a very that's a very nice way to put it. Alright, because really this devil despises you guys. Alright, which really, you're not so-called black people, you're not so-called Hispanics, you're not so-called Native Americans, you're so-called Israelites. You are Israelites, Hebrew Israelites. Alright, the chosen people of who the world literally calls God and Jesus Christ. Alright, but it goes to show you, alright, that video goes to show you how we're still segregated. Alright, you see Esau living in these suburbs, alright, and you can see that the whole idea of the suburbs was to get away from you niggas, man. Alright, get away from you spics. Alright, and this is really towards this video is really geared towards you you 2/3 Israelites out there who still want to hold hand in hand and give this devil the benefit of the doubt. Or you want to say, oh well, hey, look, there's no, they're not racist anymore. Yeah, they are, man. They still got you segregated, man. All right, you see in the video, as soon as you go home, the end of the day clocks off. Where do you go? You go to the slums, all right, mainly in the inner cities. And where does Esau go? Where do these red Hebrew Edomites go? They go off to their suburbs, man. All right, away from you niggas, man. All right. Let me get this quick precept. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 23. It says, "Can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil." All right, and that's the so-called white man. All right, can the so-called white man do good who's accustomed to do evil? No, he can't. That's why to this very day, he still has you niggas segregated, man. He has you still set apart, away from him. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right, you guys still uphold the so-called white man because he changed laws. All right, he passed, like it said in the video, equal working opportunities, or whatever it is, however the phrase is stated. All right, because he passed these certain things. All right, you Israelites, all right, you've been duped into believing that the so-called white man is no longer this evil devil no more, man. But guess what? He still is. All right, he still hates you devils, man. He's never going to be able to change that. All right, and they showed that even in that graph near the end. You know, who are your friends? It said 70. It showed statistically, 75% of these so-called white people, all right, these red Hebrew Edomites, all right, that's their biblical nationality, the red Hebrew Edomites, all right, 75% of them, all right, 75% of their friends are all whites, all right. Only a small percentage, 25%, are other nations, all right. And those are they only have that so that when they come across the Hebrew Israelites, they can say, oh well, I have a black friend, yeah. But what? You have about 100. You have 100 other white friends to that one Negro. And why is that? Because these devils hate you, man. All right, these devils hate you. Let me get All right. Where was it? Lock it, bear with me. Let me type this in real quick. I think it's 58. Yeah, 58. All right, come. This is Psalms chapter 58, verse 3. It says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And it's a damn lie that when these red Hebrew Edomites, when they speak, and what comes out of their mouth is that, well, I'm not racist. I got black friends. That's a goddamn lie, man. You damn devils, you hate the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, man. All right, and you Israelites, man, you 2/3 out there, you need to wake the hell up, man. All right, don't let this damn devil deceive you. All right, this devil is gone long enough, and he's being revealed. All right, only 2/3 won't see that and don't see that. Only the 2/3, man, because you guys are such idiots, man. And I gotta put it like that because you are, man. All right, you're what's the word? Ignorant, just like these devils call you, man. Ignorant, man. That's what you guys are. You 2/3, man. All right, this damn devil, here it is. He still got you segregated, even at the job, man. Even from where you live. You still segregated. You see in the video, which hey, that's nothing new, man. That's common knowledge. All right, that's common knowledge that at the workplace, the higher ups are all Edomites, man. All so-called white people. All right, and what like it showed in the video, the janitors, all right, the grunt workers, all right, those guys that have to really put in that grinding, that work. All right, who are they? They're mainly you Israelites, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. You wonder why you can never make it nowhere. Hey, well, guess what? That's the devil, man. All right, you wonder why a lot of the majority of your bosses, and I say majority because now, you got some diversity like they showed in the video. You got some mixing in there. You got some Jakes that are making it up, But what? It's very few compared to how many Edomites there are in higher up positions, man. All right, especially when it gets to the corporate level. Hey, man, it'll be very rare if you find an Israelite up in the corporate offices, man. All right, but what? Hey, Kahala Yabashimi Shai, man, 1144, man. All right, but what? You damn so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you still want to uphold this damn devil, man. Hey, this devil's gonna roll on you people, and then you ain't gonna know what to do in that day. All right. It's 12. This is Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness," man. All right, and you see, that's what happens when you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans trust the so-called white man. Look what happened in the past, and guess what? It's still happening today. All right. All right, you thought you were going to be living good. Well, guess what? The so-called white man left the city, left it to you niggas. Y'all niggas wanted to be in the city. You wanted to be living that life. All right, cool. He left y'all there. He went off to the suburbs. All right, and then the cities became run down, man. What it say in the video? Poor neighborhoods. All right, income-based neighborhood. Hey, go to your downtown, man. Go to your downtowns and go take a ride around in the city neighborhoods, man. The neighborhoods in the city. All right, all you're gonna see is a bunch of rundown apartments, a bunch of rundown duplexes, you know, apartment homes, run down, man. Meanwhile, you got Esau off in the hills, all right, off in the mount, like 20, 30 miles away from the city, living nice, man. You know, living off of, on lakes, you know, living good, man. While you niggas are over here struggling, man. But you the ones putting in the most work, man. But see, you Israelites, man, you're gonna learn the hard way, man, that these devils are not your friends, man. They do not like you. All right. You living in the conditions that you living in. Hey, that's because the so-called white man put you there, man. It ain't any life choices. Hey, man, you could have made the best choices throughout your whole life, man, to try to propel yourself to the best position that you can be. But guess what? At the end of the day, the so-called white man, all right, he's the one that dictates. Well, really, it's the Lord, you know. But you know, when it comes to this flesh, you know, the Lord will put it on these devils to hinder you Israelites, man, from really growing. And when I mean growing, I mean worldly, you know. And the job, you ain't gonna progress in your workplace as far as you want to, man. You ain't gonna become no CEO. You ain't gonna become the CFO. You know, you ain't gonna become none of those things. Why? Because the so-called white man, he has to be on top. He wants to be on top. He can't have no so-called Negro, Latino, Native American up there, man. You know? And it said what? It said, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his wrath hath not been altogether wiped away. Exactly, man, because what? Now the Lord has it to where the Esau's skirts are being lifted up. So everybody's seeing his nakedness, man. All right, and that's that wiping of the glass. You wipe that glass, all right, and you still see them blotches, man. Well, guess what? You know, the Lord has woken up his men, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know, he's woken up his men to the bullshit, man, and we're exposing it, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. And now it's coming out that this so-called white man still has you guys segregated, all right? He still has it on a certain level. It might not be as it was before, but guess what? You still segregated, man. All right, you're still segregated. All right, all this wickedness of the so-called white man is being exposed, man. And guess what? That rust is still there. All right, that wickedness. All right, like we read in Jeremiah, what was it? 13 and 23. All right, can an Ethiopian change the color of his skin? Can a leopard change his spots? All right. Then can he do good that is accustomed to do evil? You know, this red Hebrew Edomite, he cannot do good, man. There is no good in him. All right, and he's going to continue. All right, if this red Hebrew Edomite was to continue, guess what? We'd be destroyed, man. There would be nothing left to be saved. All right, but hey, you know, with that, you know, Lord willing, you brothers were edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Ruach HaKodesh. Hey, man, this, you know, you Israelites out there, man, you need to wake up to the fact that this devil is not your friend, man, and he hates you. All right, he still has you based in worse conditions than in before, man. You see that in the statistics. You know, they showed how segregation is now worse, man, than it was before. You know. Hey, but with that, you know, Lord willing, you brothers are edified. And until next time, I say shalom.